Welcome back, everybody. In this episode of the No Money Real Estate Podcast, I'm going to talk to you about the secret weapon. Everybody knows that I have a really major focus in my real estate business on short-term rentals and hospitality. And I want to take a minute and deep dive with you into why all of our short-term rentals are always booking at 90% occupancy. The national standard in Canada, like the average on Airbnb for short-term rentals in this country, is about 50% occupancy, and we're around the year at 90%. I'm going to explain to you why right after this.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America, and I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They build their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I've built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
Okay, so first thing I want to let you know is we're shooting this on location in my backyard, in the pergola in my backyard. And I wanted to spend some time with you here right now to really help you to understand what makes short-term rentals successful. And I hope that thousands and thousands of short-term rental owners across Canada are watching this video right now, because I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to tell you exactly why this is happening. It's because, listen carefully to this, in every short-term rental we have a major philosophy that if we're going to do a short-term rental, we need to turn a destination into an experience. Let me say that again. We have to turn a destination, where the property is located. We have to get people to forget about that, and we have to get people to want to come to the property regardless of where it is, because of what the property offers. When you look at most people that are doing short-term rentals, without proper guidance or understanding of how this industry works, they all do the same thing. They either own a house and they're struggling paying their mortgage, so they decide to create a garden suite or a secondary entrance to a basement unit, and they drop it on Airbnb and they pray. They don't do any real planning. They don't think about what's actually going to make the units rent. They just pray. Or somebody convinces them, oh, put it on Airbnb, people will rent it. Well, that's just not the case anymore. Across Canada, there are tens of thousands of short-term rentals, and they range from apartment units in cities and in busy areas to my favorite, destination cottages in the country. And because there are so many, people have choices. And so when they're looking at Airbnb, yes, they're putting an address in where they're going, and then they're going to look at what's there and what the features are and what the benefits are for them to stay at that property. And that's where you have to start thinking different. What we realized years ago, and to be honest with you, this happened by accident. We had a property up in basically, it's not northern Ontario, but it's the middle of Ontario. We call it our tiny escape property. And this property was actually owned in the past by a friend of mine. I ended up buying it from him, and I bought it from him because I was intrigued by it. It was renting at 90% occupancy, and I couldn't figure out why. But it had a feature on it, which was a really unique setup of a hot tub, a cold plunge, and a sauna. And I looked at that feature, and I wanted one. I thought it was freaking crazy. I own a really beautiful cottage on Stony Lake, just north of Peterborough in Ontario. And what's really nice about this property is it's got a big bungalow cottage that we don't rent. We keep it for our family, but it's got a really beautiful lakeside cottage. We call it the Red Cottage. It's got a beautiful fire pit. It's a really nice property, but it was just like everybody else. It wasn't renting well. But I wanted to have one of these Mini Nordic Spas. So we set up a plan, and of course, by the magic of social media, if you're watching this video, let me snap my fingers and there's some pictures of it so you can see it. We took the same design of the hot tub, the cold plunge, and the sauna, and we put it together in a way that it fits in with the features of the land. So you can see how you can walk right off of the fire pit area right into the hot tub and cold plunge. And guess what happened? We updated the pictures on the Airbnb site, and we started running ads. We started driving traffic to that listing, and within a month we filled up the next 6 months. And it wasn't just that we filled up the next 6 months. We filled up the next 6 months at twice as much as we were renting the property for before. So now this property is full 90% of the time, and we're getting twice as much money. In the wintertime, we rent it for $500 a night. In the summertime, we rent it for $800 a night, and it's booked. Once I had the two of these properties, and they were both renting, that's when my understanding of short-term rentals went to an entirely new level. It's about the experience. So let's say somebody is going to a specific area, and they like short-term rentals versus hotels. They're going to put that address in Airbnb, and they're going to see all the options, but which one are they going to choose? They're going to choose the one that offers the best experience to them when they come to the property. I want you to think about that clearly. So when you're thinking about what can you do to your cottage, what can you do to your short-term rental to create a true experience, you've got to look at trends. You need to look at what trends are happening around you that people are really buying into. And friends, one of the biggest trends that's happening in the world today, not just in North America, but in the world today, when it comes to people and discretionary travel spending. That's a big fancy word. That means the money that they're going to spend on travel anyway. Discretionary income that they're going to spend on travel. The number one trend that's happening is wellness. It's ridiculous how massive this is. Every time a new spa opens anywhere in the world, they're full immediately. People are really buying in to longevity and living longer and taking better care of themselves. And that's why wellness is so important. Now, when we look at wellness, the real concept of wellness is hydrotherapy. And hydrotherapy's origins really come from the Scandinavian region in the world. Norway, Sweden, Denmark, those frigidly cold countries. And you know what they do? They live 30% longer than everybody else in the world. And the only thing that they do different than the rest of us is hydrotherapy is a part of their lives from infancy. What's hydrotherapy? It's a system where you can rejuvenate your body by using hot and cold temperatures in tandem. So here's how it works, and here's why the Mini Nordic Spa that I showed you earlier is so special. If you want to live longer and you want to do some amazing things to improve the quality of your body, get into a hot tub. Make sure that hot tub is heated to 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Get in the hot tub and stay there for 30 minutes. What you're doing is you're going to heat your core temperature in your body up by about 30 degrees. Every cell in your body is going to become hotter. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I am not allowed to give you medical advice, and I am not giving you medical advice. So here's a layman's perspective on our body and health. Everybody knows that our bodies are full of cells. We are literally made up of trillions of cells. And so when you get a disease or a disorder in your body, that disease or disorder is going to start at a cellular level. Now, think about this for a second. Some of our cells are healthy. Some of our cells are weaker. Some of our cells are older. Some of our cells are newer. So if you're going to get a disease and a disorder and it's going to start in a cell, it's logical to think it's going to start in a weak cell. It's going to start in an old, weak, decrepit cell. So if you could figure out a way to get rid of all the old, dying cells in your body and keep young, vibrant, healthy cells in your body, it stands to say you're going to live longer. So use hydrotherapy to do that. Get in a hot tub, stay there for 30 minutes. Now here's the secret. What you're going to do is get out of that hot tub and within seconds, submerge yourself completely into a cold plunge. And that cold plunge needs to be somewhere between 2 and 4 degrees Celsius. So when you get in that, you go right down to your neck. You know what's going to happen? It's going to kill all the dead cells. Stay there for 2 minutes. And then step 3, you've got to rejuvenate. You got to get back into a warm environment and let all those healthy cells create more healthy cells. That's the sauna. See, that's what's so magical about it. Before we started putting Mini Nordic Spas at all of our properties, we would get people that would stay at our properties and they'd give us our reviews to say, lovely cottage. I'm going to bring my family back here again sometime. Thank you so much, Ken, for having such a lovely cottage. Now, you know what they say? I used the Mini Nordic Spa and the pain in my back went away. My neck pain went away. It was life-changing for me. These are the reviews we're getting about our cottages. They're not even talking about the cottages. They're talking about the experience with hydrotherapy. So what does that tell you? So here's the other thing. Really quickly, I'm going to flash up all our cottages that we have right now that we're renting. You see how every cottage has the hot tub, cold plunge, and sauna combination at it. And they're all full. And when we look across Airbnb, we are the only hosts that have that combination set up the way it is. And that's the secret weapon. Now, here's what you're going to be really excited about. I'm going to help you do this. I own a company called Canadian Hot Tubs. And we sell the hot tubs, the cold plunges, and the saunas. And it's really funny how it happened. The owner of the company was a friend of mine, and when he was retiring, I was his biggest customer, and he came to me and asked if I wanted to buy it. And I said, sure I do, absolutely. And we're always trying to make Canadian hot tubs better and do things better. Just recently, we created a strategic partnership with a company in China, and it reduced the overall cost of the Mini Nordic Spa significantly. So our hot tubs and cold plunges are made from BC red cedar, and this cedar is sent right to our factory in Kitchener, where we put the hot tubs and cold plunges together. Our saunas and utility room, this building I'm showing you right now on the screen, they're actually made in China. And the reason they are is because we can get them made cheaper. But here's the cool thing. They import BC red cedar from British Columbia to China to do this, and then they make them exclusively for us. So if you have a short-term rental and you want to do this, then what I want you to do is click on the link below this video and check out Canadian Hot Tub's website. Talk to my people at Canadian Hot Tubs, and they'll tell you how you can get your own Mini Nordic Spa. We have a package that includes a 6-foot hot tub, a 5-foot cold plunge, all of the mechanical equipment, and the entire building with the sauna pre-built and the utility room, and it's cheaper than you think. And friends, we are never sitting still when we build our companies. We've got this thing all figured out. We've even created a partnership with a major lender where we can get you a loan over a 7-year term to buy your Mini Nordic Spa. The hot tub, the cold plunge can be built by anybody. We've sent detailed instructions that teach you how to do it. And your sauna building comes complete. You just set it on site and you're there. Now, literally what's gonna happen is you're gonna hire a contractor to do it. You're gonna pay them about 10 grand, but this Mini Nordic Spa is going to allow you to literally double how much you make on your short-term rentals. Last thing I'm gonna tell you, if I've got you fired up right now and you wanna get into short-term rentals, I have a program where I teach people how to do it. And I host webinars regularly where I'll walk you through the process. And here's why I love this so much. If you are a Canadian and you live in this country with me, you already love the idea of going to a cottage. It's in our fiber, it's in our DNA. And for years now, I've been teaching people how to go find old dilapidated cottages, 3-season cottages, how to buy them 100% with borrowed money. In other words, you don't need any money to do this. How to borrow the money to renovate the properties and turn it into a destination, including the Mini Nordic Spa. And in doing that, you're going to double the value. And then how to get a bank to give you a takeout mortgage so now you own the property. And then I teach people how to rent the properties at 90%. So you make enough money to cover all the expenses and put an extra $4,000 to $5,000 in income in your pocket every single month. If you'd like to know more about that, click on the link in the notes that says check out my training on short-term rentals. If you already own a short-term rental and you want to get a Mini Nordic Spa, then click on that link that says Canadian Hot Tubs and check it out.